What's up, guys? Eric here from BBM Productions. As you can see, I'm a bit rough. Anyway, you guys are not going to see me as much because I need to share this with you guys. So, in light of Ilia Topuria starting his, you could say, his campaign, his media campaign before his fight with Max Holloway, he has said some interesting things that literally every topic could be a different video. But we're going to discuss him versus Islam Makhachev quickly. So, my comment on one of the MMA, Ilia Topuria on potential matchup against Islam Makhachev. So you guys can see my comment there. And a few people agree, but let me explain this. My only issue here is Ilia's body weight. That means his body weight when he goes up to 155 versus Islam. Now, this is a hypothetical situation. So, I said, I don't doubt him if he goes up there. He has shown he has very good anti-wrestling. And instantly, when I said he is bigger, thicker, because people don't understand. Bigger means you have more body weight. It means you are thicker built than somebody. It does not mean you are taller, longer arms, and you outweigh a person by 50 to 100 pounds. That's not traditionally what the word bigger means. Not in sports as well. And when wrestling is a part of the equation, every ounce of body weight plays a role. And as you guys can see, somebody that's not gun shy, that's Ilia. Somebody that has great anti-wrestling, that's Ilia. He showed it versus Bryce Mitchell, and he showed it versus Josh Emmett recently. Even versus Volkanovski, I don't remember if he ever shot his shot, but obviously he doesn't do that early in fights, so I don't think Volk even tried if he did. I rewatched the fight quickly when I was on the way to the doctors today, so yeah, and it was just before I actually commented this. It's very interesting that it pops up at this time. Now, the Volk match, the Max match and the Volk rematch really determines if this even is a convert to be held really. So this was a very loose comment. That means it's subject to change. And in MMA, many things are subject to change. So these people cried that he isn't bigger. I said, have you guys seen this guy out of camp? So yes, he's taller than Volk. Now people will say, but he didn't look taller in the fight versus Volk. Yes, because he stands like a boxer. Boxers hunch down their weight. And more so when they're fighting a wrestling type fighter in MMA. This happens often. Even Dustin Poirier lowered his stance down versus Islam Makhachev. So, outside of these stupid comments, which I'll reply to now, because I was mid-comment when I said, let me make a video about this. See, no way Ilia's bigger. MMA math. How's this MMA math? Please explain to me when I say somebody has more weight, he has better anti-wrestling than people think, better than, in my opinion, than Volk even, and then insane striking. Better striking than Volk. He slept Volk. Volk, if you go rewatch that fight, go watch it in slow-mo. Don't watch it in normal speed, no audio, etc. Go watch it in slow-mo. Volk was being walked down, being countered the whole time, and then kept at range. Also, he was getting the cage cut off. That's why I had to switch stance so much, and that's why I didn't kick as often, because he saw he's going to counter me with my kicks, and that's bad. You can see him acknowledge the power that Ilia had many times when Ilia landed on him. Go rewatch the fight, guys. We all have this view in our head because we like Volkanovski and we don't like being objective, that Volk was just destroying him, but it wasn't true. It was all, so to speak, just Ilia finding his rhythm, etc. He was just finding his distance, depicting the flow of the fight, and then finding counters. People who don't fight don't see this, and then they just think, oh, the guy that was throwing more was winning. I want to say a certain controversial fight recently is the same, but I'll get to that when we get to that point. It's not a topic to be held right now. So, my argument for all of this is, for these guys, for the size thing, because more people are upset that I said the size thing is, too many people have been crying about the size thing. So, here is Ilia Topuria sparring Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman, gentlemen. Does he look smaller than gigantic Kamaru Usman? Let me just remind some of you guys how big Kamaru Usman looks versus other welterweights. If the Wi-Fi wants to work, because I'm trying to download music and I can smell rain. Okay, not music. I'm trying to download two games. That new game, Homeless, that everybody's been playing, the horror game, and then yeah, Usman versus Burns, because Burns is also a thick, big mofo. This is the same guy. I hate when YouTube does that. Burns is the same guy that looked very thick versus Hamzat Chimaev. And Usman looked big versus him as well. Usman is huge. We all know this. Let me say versus Tyrone Woodley. So, yeah. He looks gigantic versus Woodley. Now, does he look that much bigger than Ilia Topuria here? No. Ilia is just hunkered down. Here he goes down, and you can see when the back shot pops up. You guys see when they switch positions. He is almost as wide as Usman. And Usman looks huge versus other welterweights. There's not such a big... Look at that. There's not such a big difference in their size. What the hell? And these people are claiming, no, he's not bigger than Volk. What are you on about? There's more videos of Ilia sparring bigger guys like this and sleeping them with a belly on him. And he cuts down a lot of weight. That's why Usman has pointed it out that he's just dropping guys. So he has power in his hands and then he has a lot more weight when he's not training, etc. So these people yapping don't see he is that good and then he's that big. That's why he fought at 155 at one point. Yes, he got dropped in that fight, but that person is not Islam Makhachev. Now, there is still an argument to go both ways for skills there, because Islam has a good high kick, as we already seen. But the difference is that was an orthodox fighter versus Ilia, not a southpaw. That same kick is not there against Ilia. So, gents, I understand we love Volkanovski and we despise Ilia suddenly, and we love Max and we despise Ilia just because of that. And we know how he reacted versus when Max won versus Gaethje. But we can't be like discrediting this person just because of that situation. I'm sorry. It's really stupid to discredit him like that. And there's a lot of sparring of Ilia versus a lot bigger guys. Some bar fight that Ilia was in. I'm not shocked if he is ever in a bar fight. Where's that one training video, the sparring footage? You guys see? Look there. These same guys. He's not bigger than Volk. This is them facing off. This is the fight. But look how much thicker he is next to Volk. And we know how big Volk is when he's out of camp. He is big, guys. People underestimate him. Let me say, they underestimate the sparring side of things. And you guys forget how good he is at defending wrestling. Where's that one video? It popped up earlier when I looked for videos. But see, it's the opposite now. Earlier, I wanted... this is the new training footage everybody's making videos on. I'm making a video on this because this is some stupidness. People acting like, guys, don't worry about it. I'll end on this note. I'm going to just put this on. See, there, Ilia's also bigger and he just touches this guy and just sleeps him. I'll do this while I just give my closing words. So, guys, so Ilia is huge. You can see there, he's a lot bigger than people think. And you see him next to Usman. He's big. It's when I saw that video of him in Usman training that I decided, I was like, oh, it's one of the reasons he hits so hard. He has a lot of weight in certain zones of his body. And then he can generate a lot of leverage. See, stuff like that, guys. He can generate a lot of leverage when he throws his shots. Now, I'm not talking about the striking right now in this conversation. I'm talking about the weight, how big he is, and then his anti-wrestling. He will not be gun shy like Dustin Poirier or anybody else was versus Islam. There's a good video by MMA Shea that points out how Oliveira just made mistakes while pressuring Islam, but that was the key thing to do. Volkanovski actually capitalized on the forward pressure. Islam does not like going backwards or fighting backwards. Now, he has improved on that, as Dustin Poirier showed in their rematch, their fight. But, again, you see there, Ilia, to me, is a far better wrestler than Dustin. I'll put money on that. He's a far better anti-wrestler than Dustin. See? Boom. And he is a far better counter-striker than Dustin. He's a far better boxer in some ways than Dustin. And it shows in his performances. That's why he doesn't fight scared versus wrestlers. And then he has this horrific power in his hands. So, he goes up to lightweight. Yes, he will be undersized. Islam is still a huge lightweight. But the thing is, if Volk could stand his ground with his wrestling skills, his anti-wrestling skills and wrestling skills, that, in my opinion, is actually a tick behind Ilia's, then how good will Ilia do? Now, it will still be decided on the striking because he can't be anti-wrestling constantly and still losing on the feet because he's hesitant to throw. If he goes into that fight and suddenly is hesitant, then he's not going to win. If he's overzealously angry, pressuring like Charles Oliveira was, then he's going to get caught the same way Oliveira got caught, just maybe with a different sequence. So it would be a perfect balance is needed. Now, years back, I told people this is what somebody would need to beat Khabib even. The only difference with Khabib is his pressure is very fast. He comes out like a bull that's very angry at you, and he doesn't stop. And he has different kinds of chain wrestling to get you to the ground. So again, you would need somebody that's superhuman fit and has very good countering skills as well as complete anti-wrestling skills that is not as afraid to work from his back up to his feet. That person does not exist yet. Not at all. There's nobody that's this well-rounded yet. And that's the problem. Ilia seems very well-rounded, but is he well-rounded enough to really take that style? I'll give my breakdown on it if we ever need to really have this conversation. But the main point that I had an issue with is people saying that this man is not bigger than Volk. Guys, I know all the stories about Volk in the rugby days, but he's not in the rugby days anymore. Ilia is a much wider, heavier built person than Volkanovski. Every bit of evidence I showed shows that.